Hey guys, welcome to another video. This is the C10. So in this video, I'm going to show you the power of Florges and why it's such an underrated pick in the single cup. So here we have Coffee Grigus versus Coffee Grigus, and as you can see that I will be getting to my move first. And the move lands and the opponent doesn't shield, maybe thinking it was a psychic, but I land it and now I'm in a great position. And now let's see what comes in, and it's a fairy type. Now the good thing about Coffee Grigus is that it gets to move really quickly, and I can safely shield this, and I can get a shield as well if I throw a shadow ball to the opponent. But sometimes I think it would be better for you to throw a psychic because you can also get the defense drop. But here I go for the shadow ball, and the shadow ball gets a shield, and now I immediately switch into Florges. Now Florges, and now a Clefable comes out, and now you shall see why why you can see now why Florges' Moonblast is so powerful. Look at the damage. It takes like almost 80% of its health, and Florges even survives the meteor mash. And because the Clefable is using Fairy Wind, I can get to another move and this will land. So let's see if he can get a shield from the opponent, and we do get a shield from the opponent. Now the thing is, I know he has a Shadow Grand Bull in the back, and so what I do, basically sack my Machamp. I basically take the damage of the Moonblast, which will definitely one-shot beat, but now I can farm down the Clefable, and I can safely throw a Shadow Ball to the Shadow Grand Bull. And also, since I have a shield up, this is a beautiful matchup. And because of this smart play, I will be able to win this move, even though you can see that my defense has dropped. And I shall safely win this game. We have an Umbreon lead. Now Umbreon is very bad for my Cofagrigus, as since it's a dark type, it will destroy ghost types. So I bring in my Florges because I didn't want to bring in my Machamp at this point, because he might have a fairy type in the back. So I took a risk, and the risk paid off basically, because he didn't have a poison type. So he brings out a Vigoroth. Now Vigoroth has access to Body Slam and Bulldoze. Now Bulldoze will not do much damage, but it's better to throw 2 Body Slams at Florges. So at this point I basically want to win switch. So what I do, I will use both my shields and I will keep using my Moonblast. Now the good thing about Florges is that, as you can see, it reads CMP. It wins CMP most of the time against most of the meta in the current single cup. So Florges will get to his move really fast, and it's really good for this cup, guys, I'm telling you. And it's very underrated, so not many people has been using it. As what I've seen, I have not faced a single person with Florges till now, and this team absolutely dominates the current single cup. And I would actually suggest you guys to use Psychic instead of Moonblast for Florges, because it's better that you use Psychic for Florges, as in case you have a bad matchup, like if there's a poison type, if you keep a Psychic, the opponent is very highly unaware that Florges can use Psychic, and you can hit the opponent with super effective damage on the poison type. So in this match, you can see, as coming back to the match, you can see that Machamp, now it's a good matchup for me. So Machamp versus Umbreon, I just need to go to 2 cross chops, and lucky for me, the opponent does not have a Psychic, or it would have taken most of my health. So I can get to a cross chop, and let's see if we can get to another move. Okay, unfortunately I don't think I get to a move, but I will survive whatever he throws. If he throws a last resort, yes, I survive by 1 HP. I get to my move, but I can't throw it, unfortunately. So now I have enough energy, and I throw a shadow ball. And after throwing the shadow ball, there is still a Clefable remaining, but Clefable is out of energy. So let's see who will win this match. It's a really close game, guys, but in the end I win this match, which is awesome. Third match, we have Cofagrigus versus Berserker, another bad matchup. So Cofagrigus it will do good damage if I can get the Shadow Ball, but the problem with Berserker is that it has access to Shadow Claw and Foul Play, and I have to shield this Foul Play. So what I'm going to do, I'm immediately going to throw my move and catch and bring in my Machamp, because I want to do as maximum damage as possible. So I'll immediately bring in my matchup, and I'll try to get chip damage, and I get really good chip damage against the Berserker. And now he brings in a Haxorus. Now Haxorus is pretty good with its new move Breaking Swipe, but it's still very glassy, so Machamp can do good damage. Now I will survive this easily, so I can easily even switch now. He throws in a big Breaking Swipe, and I survive by 1 HP, and now the Berserker comes back in. Now I can safely bring in my Cofagrigus in this matchup, and I can safely farm down the opponent, and I'll be almost at my second Shadow Ball, so I can basically double Shadow Ball the Pokemon that's coming in. And let's see what he has. He has a Dragon type, and he is going to be really sad if he sees what's in the back. So I throw my Shadow Ball, I bring in my Florges, and this is basically game over. And here I decide to go for the Moon Blast, but after checking on PV Poke, I realize that even Disarming Voice on a Shadow Dragonair will do massive damage. It'll take almost 98% of his health, which is pretty awesome. So you can go out and use that as well. So for the next match we have Cofagrigus for a Politoed. Now Politoed is basically used mostly because to get rid of Ninetales, and opponent is running a Rapidash, a Kanto Rapidash. I haven't seen those much in this cup, so I immediately the opponent switch and he brings in his Rapidash, and I go into my Machamp. Now Machamp will do pretty good damage, so I will use my shield here to preserve my Machamp, and I will try to get to my move as quickly as possible, and I get to my move, which is amazing. This will probably go unshielded by the opponent. Now the thing about Machamp is it's really good for this cup. It gets to move really quickly, and it hits almost everything with like very good damage. And right now my opponent brings in back his Politoed. I won't be shielding this, as now I can safely come in with my Cofagrigus, and let's see what the opponent decides to do. I would have, if the opponent has an Earthquake of Avalanche, I will be able to survive it. So my opponent doesn't decide to catch, so I directly go for the Shadow Ball. It one shots the Politoed, and now I can safely get to another move. I go for the Psychic because I'm pretty sure my opponent might shield this, so I want to get the defense drop. So I throw the Psychic, but my opponent does not shield it, but I do get the defense drop, which is amazing for us. And so now I don't need to shield this because this will be a potential Weather Ball, which it is. And I need to get to another Psychic, but I don't think I will be able to survive this. I don't survive it. But now because its defense is dropped, I can safely go for a Disarming Voice, and my opponent shields it, and at this rate I can just click and win the game. I have a shield up, so I can just go for the move. I can shield this Weather Ball safely. I can get to my move before my opponent, and as you can see right there that I win CMP, and that's why Florges is really good. It wins CMP against most of the meta. Okay, so for the next match we have a Slurpuff on the lead. So Slurpuff it's pretty good for this cup, but it's also spicy pick. Not many people use it because a Clefable is a better option. So I directly go for the Shadow Ball. My opponent shields the Shadow Ball, and he brings in a Ninetales, and I bring in my Machamp, and now I will immediately try going for the Rock Slide. But I should have gone for the Cross Chop, but I had a feeling my opponent won't shield this, so I went for the Cross Slide. I went for the Rock Slide, sorry, but my opponent decides to shield it. And now I shall shield, and I don't shield, and that's a terrible mistake. He gets the attack drop, but now I can safely go for my move. I feel I should have shielded it because maybe I could have done a better much, but let's see what happens in this match. So now I'm just going to farm up and going to throw my move now. Now my opponent, in order to win this match, he has to save his shield, so let's see what happens. He lets it go, and he will probably coming back with a Slurpuff. Yes, but Slurpuff is already on a move, so Slurpuff doesn't have any attacks which will one-shot me, so I directly unshield it and I go for the Shadow Ball. Cofagrigus is really amazing for this cup, and since I have a shiny and my IV is also pretty good of my Cofagrigus, I'm really happy with how this team works so well. And right now I go for the Fairy Wing, and my opponent used a Melmetal, which is kind of funny because I haven't seen a metal in Great League. And I shield this, and it's a double Iron Bash. Now the problem with double Iron Bash, it will do super effective damage, but it does not one shot a Florges, which is really good for us. So as you can see over there, it does not one shot the Florges. So now I can safely get to the Moonblast, and check out how much Moonblast damage it does. Look at that, it takes out the Meltan, which is amazing. And right now I win CMP again, and that's the game. It's so amazing how Florges is in this cup. For the final game, which will be Shadow Muck on the lead. Now Shadow Muck will take super effective damage from my Psychic, but let's see if it lands. So I immediately go for the Psychic. I click on the Psychic, and I don't think this lands because the opponent shields. Yes, the opponent shields. Now he has access to dark pulse, but I decide that I will not shield, feeling that he's trying to bait me, and he does bait me, which is just a Thunder Punch. So now I can get to my move, and just before I can get to my move, I decide to shield, and after shielding he decides to throw the Dark Pulse, so it was a good shield from my end. And now I can safely farm up a little more and throw the Psychic. Now my opponent, I feel, wants to win switch, so he shields again, but I go for my Psychic. But right am I about to get to my Psychic, I lose CMP, and my opponent will now be able to throw his move, the Thunder Punch. Because it's a Shadow, he got the CMP win, and I bring in my Machamp. Now he has a Cofagrigus in the back. Now I need to land this Rock Slide, and I know my opponent won't shield this because Rock Slide won't do much damage. It'll do almost 45% of it. Now I bring in my Florges, and my opponent brings in a Vigoroth. Now I need to land this Moonblast, and if I can able to land this Moonblast, then I can use a Disarming Voice against a Vigoroth, and I land the Moonblast, and my opponent is going to throw Body Slam. He basically needs 2 Body Slams to KO my Florges, and he throws the first Body Slam, and now it's a race against the next charge move. And I throw my move at exactly the correct CMP, and the Disarming Voice will land on this Vigoroth. And right now he has his Cofagrigus with no shields. I can directly go from the Moonblast. But do I shield this? I do not shield this. And he throws a Dark Pulse, and I easily survive that. And Florges is amazing, honestly guys, I'm telling you. And you can see that Disarming Voice took about 30% of his health, and I can easily finish this game.